Today, we're diving deep into the hidden history of yoga. And let me tell you, it's a story that goes back thousands of years, and it's way more incredible than you might think.
So, if you think yoga is basically just a really good stretch or, a trendy way to work out, get ready. Because the practice we know today is really just the very tip of a massive historical iceberg. So let's start our archaeological dig for wisdom, and we're going to start with the oldest scriptures known to humanity.
Our journey kicks off with the Vedas. These are the foundational texts of Indian philosophy, and it's right here where the very first seeds of yogic thought were planted.
And just to put that in perspective, we are talking about a time over 3,500 years ago. These texts are properly ancient, and they show us that the core ideas of yoga are just as old. This isn't some modern invention. It's a tradition that's been tested and refined for millennia.
Now, this quote from the Rig Veda is absolutely fascinating. It tells us that right from the very beginning, yoga was never just a set of exercises. Yajna here means any significant, focused, purposeful action. Like a sacred ritual or even a huge life project. And what the text is saying is that yoga, that discipline of yoking your mind and body together, is the essential ingredient to make any yajna successful. It's the secret sauce. And here's where it gets a little mind-bending. The Vedas were considered Shruti, which literally means what is heard. The belief is that these verses weren't just composed by people thinking really hard. No, the idea is that they were universal truths that ancient sages actually perceived while in deep states of meditation. So in a way, the very act of receiving this wisdom was itself a profound yogic act. And this just brilliantly illustrates how these yogic seeds were scattered across all four of the Vedas. You've got the Rig Veda talking about mental focus. The Yajur Veda uses the actual word yoga to mean unifying the individual soul with the universe. The Samavedi's chants, they're basically a form of sound meditation. And the Atharva Veda connects breath control to health and healing. It's all there, right at the dawn of recorded history. Okay, so let's move to the next layer and see how all of this starts to build.
So, if the Vedas planted the seeds, the Upanishads are where they really started to grow into this profound philosophy. As society evolved, these texts marked a huge shift, moving away from all the external rituals and turning the focus inward to the deep personal quest for self-knowledge.
This quote from the Katha Upanishad, it's a total game changer. It defines yoga not as something you do, but as a state of supreme inner stillness that you achieve. It's all about withdrawing the senses, quieting the mind, and reaching this higher state of being. This is the moment yoga becomes this deeply internal, meditative journey.
And the Katha Upanishad gives us this absolutely incredible metaphor to understand what it's like to be human. Think about it. Your body is the chariot. Your five senses, they're these wild horses, always pulling you in a million different directions. The mind is holding the reins, and your intellect is the charioteer, trying desperately to steer. The destination is your true self. And what's the skill you need to guide this whole chaotic setup? It's yoga. This just perfectly captures the challenge of self-mastery. So the crucial point here is that the Upanishads turn the focus inward, and they defined yoga as the ultimate tool for realizing who you truly are.
All right, so we've explored the deep philosophical foundations. Now, let's see how these profound ideas were actually put into practice. The great Indian epics, the Ramayana and the Mahabharata, they aren't just stories. They're like these dynamic case studies of yogic principles being applied to life's most intense challenges.
So in the Ramayana, the characters themselves are basically archetypes of different yogic paths. You've got Lord Rama, who isn't just a hero, he's the embodiment of dharma and self-control, living a yogic life of doing the right thing, even when facing incredible hardship. And Hanuman? He is the ultimate example of bhakti yoga, the yoga of devotion, channeling this immense power through his absolute, unwavering faith.
And then, out of the epic Mahabharata, we get what is maybe the single most influential yogic text in the entire world, the Bhagavad Gita. This is where yoga gets synthesized into this complete, practical, and accessible system for how to live your life.
The Gita just brilliantly lays out 4 distinct paths of yoga because it understands that people have different personalities. You've got Karma Yoga, the path of selfless action, Bhakti Yoga, the path of devotion, Jnana Yoga, the path of knowledge and wisdom, and Dhyana Yoga, the path of meditation. The genius of the Gita is that it shows how all of these different paths lead to the very same goal, spiritual union.
And if there was ever any doubt about how important this practice is, this verse from the Gita just makes it crystal clear. Lord Krishna tells the warrior Arjuna that a yogi, someone who is engaged, balanced, and united with their purpose, is superior to everyone.
Better than those who just study scripture, even better than those who practice extreme self-denial. It's a direct, powerful command. Be a yogi.
So, okay, let's bring this all together. We've just traveled thousands of years, from ancient hymns all the way to epic battlefields. How on earth does this connect to you rolling out your mat today?
Well, what we call yoga today is really the result of this long, evolving conversation. It started with those Vedic ideals of focus and union, it deepened into the Upanishadic quest for the self, and it was made practical for everyday life in the epics. It is so much more than just physical postures. So the key takeaway is this. Every single time you step on that mat, you are participating in this rich, ancient tradition of self-discovery. You are the charioteer and you are taking hold of the reins of your own life.
So I'll leave you with this to think about. Knowing that you're a part of a 3,500-year-old quest for self-mastery and inner peace, how might this ancient wisdom change not just your next practice, but your whole perspective on life itself?